All right, so we do have someone connected by phone. Their number ends in 158. I'm going to ask you to unmute by pressing *6. I just need you to identify yourself. Okay, so you're not unmuting yet. So I'll just advise you that for observing the hearing, the notice of hearing directs you to the live stream, or you could call in if that's not working. So if you can let me, well, it's working, but if you don't have an adequate internet connection, you can call in. So I'm just curious if you're a member of the public looking to observe by audio, if you could press *6 and let me know. Yeah, I see you unmuted.
I apologize. Yes, sorry, this is Ann Lee.
And are you a member of the public?
Yes.
Okay, so you can't use the YouTube channel, is that right?
It was not coming up for me when I tried. I can try again while
Yeah,
I listen
I was a little late getting it started.
Better luck.
Yeah, I was a little late getting it started, but it should be up and running now. So give it a try. If you connect, then just hang up. Okay.
Drop the call. Yep. Thank you.
All right. Great. Thanks. Cub. Knew we're missing somebody. All right. Looks like we have all of our parties in attendance. Great. All right. I think we're good to go. So let's get on the record. Everyone ready? All right. This is docket 137 CE 209, the application of American Transmission Company. And in this case, we're looking to, there you go, Western Feed Transmission Line Project. Looking for the short name on this case. It's in that docket title somewhere, but it's the Western Feed Transmission Line Project. That's our case today. My name is Michael Newark, the Administrative Law Judge with the PSC. We're here in the party session. So we're taking evidence from parties and commission staff. We are connected through Zoom, and we've made the Zoom connection. No, we've made live streaming and the phone connection available for members of the public to observe. We'll be meeting next week, February 26th, for the public session where we'll take comments from the public in the Village Hall and the Village of Sturtevant. And we're still collecting, or we'll continue to collect written comments through the commission's website or U.S. mail up until February 28th. So be aware of all that. At this point, I think we can move on to take our appearances. So let's start with our service list. Hopefully the latest version of the service list. I don't think there have been too many changes here, but you never know. So keep an eye on this. American Transmission Company, who's representing ATC?
Morning, Judge. This is David Zappa with Hush Blackwell on behalf of ATC, and with me also is John Sagoni, in-house counsel with ATC.
Okay, great. Citizens Utility Board.
Good morning, Your Honor. Corey Singletary for the Citizens Utility Board.
Okay, Public Service Commission.
Evan Whites on behalf of the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin. Good morning, everyone.
And Wisconsin Industrial Energy Group.
Yes, good morning. Steve Heinzen for the Wisconsin Industrial Energy Group.
All right, that's all our service list, people. So thanks. So we'll move on to our offered evidence list, and we can discuss, first of all, any errors or omissions on the list. I think I got things updated from the recent filings. I think I sent this version out to everyone, but so it does have the errata, proposed errata filings listed. So let me just ask, are there any errors or omissions on these filings? Is there something that I'm missing or misallocated to the wrong witness, or you know what I mean? So let's start with the applicant. How's the list look so far?
Your Honor, it looks complete. The only thing I would note is you do have Morton's exhibits under Facklum.
Ah.
But they're there.
Okay, it's exactly what I was talking about. Okay, let's see. All right. And like it's nothing from Cub or Weeg. Let's try commission staff. How does the list look from your end?
It looks good, Your Honor. I see you added the data request exhibit. The only other thing is I believe witness Biefeld did file an errata.
Oh, okay, I missed that.
So
All right, well, I'll just let me just take a peek since we will be discussing some other errata. So
do you want the IRF number?
yeah, that'll be great. Thanks. Let me just get my get the right screen up first before
Okay.
you recite the number. We can do this off the record. Okay, there we go. Go ahead.
531806.
No, it's not coming up. 531-836
06.
06. Ah, that's better. Oh yeah, no, I did see this before. Okay, I just failed. Okay, great. So yeah, so let's get on the record then. Yeah, so I did completeness. That's not it. Oh. I don't like completeness, does it? Maybe it's just not a word. So yeah, we do have the staff exhibits listed. I did want to mention though, it's not really spoken rule, but we do I don't think it's in the current FMO that we would, but the intended practice here is that we do get those things filed ahead of time. And on completeness, I think I think that is filed. I just didn't put the reference number in there. But for the EA exhibit and the data request exhibit, the idea is to get that in earlier before the hearing. And then for the data request exhibit, it's useful to have that exhibit offered, even if it's not finished. So if it comes in on direct or any of the earlier rounds of testimony would be useful. And it just gives people an idea like, what is this document? We can start. You're supposed to cite to it at the beginning and just assume it's coming in. So you use the citation conventions, even though the exhibit isn't in front of us, hasn't been filed. But to get it in earlier helps people understand that and they can start using it and referring to it. We can use it during the hearing if we have one in front of us. But I didn't see it an earlier version filed in this case. I think staff might have been missing that in concept in the recent past. So we can get, even though it's not complete, I know it's not going to be complete, but get one in before the hearing so we can start using it. And then just at the end of the hearing, you're really supposed to keep it updated, but maybe towards the end, and certainly after the hearing, just file the final version. But it's useful to have whatever is currently in the system on IRF for everyone to see and use during the case. So.
Thank you, Your Honor. Noted. I would just add that I believe the data request response exhibit was filed on IRF first thing this morning, so that should be on file already. And as far as the environmental assessment exhibit, I think that was one of your other notes because it was incorrectly named as, I believe, McDonald exhibit instead of the environmental assessment. So
Right, yeah. Okay, well, yeah, so I'll just get the reference number up so we can refer to it if we need to.
And I did have one question on the data.
I'm sorry, who's speaking?
Sorry, this is David Zappo.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I had just one question on the data request response exhibit.
Should we be on the record?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm just bringing that up now. I can switch the view here.
If we just go to the first page.
Okay.
I just noticed that the incompleteness responses weren't included in here. And I know that ATC updated the application with the text from the incompleteness responses, but I don't remember those being omitted in previous cases. So I was just wondering if they should be added here.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if to be honest with you, I don't know what we've done in other cases, but if I'm not sure if staff has always considered those data request responses, but we can discuss that.
Your Honor, my understanding, and I certainly could be wrong, but I thought that those were not data request responses because it was the incomplete application, and that's part of the reason I think that there's the red line version, and some of that stuff I thought was captured in the application exhibit. So I don't know if there's a reason to have the incomplete application or if it just makes sense for the record purposes to have the complete application, which is in the application exhibit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
tend to
sorry.
agree that we're working off the completed exhibit, what happened before, maybe some sort of procedural history, but maybe not, information that's needed for the record. But do you have anything to add, Attorney Zappo?
The only thing I would mention, I mean, as Attorney White's pointed out, we did update the application with the responses to the incompleteness requests. So I believe everything that's in those responses should be in the application. So I guess, yeah, I think we're okay. I just wanted to verify
Sure.
whether that was intentional or not.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, it's always safe to ask. So just for my make sure we're on the same page here with this is the application exhibit, the current most recently filed. I guess I have it on IRF as using the R application -R, but it's not filed that way here. But that's besides the point. But I just wanted to make sure that in terms of the most updated application document, is it this one 516992?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, good. So I think we have in terms of the most updated information should be in the record. Anything else about the data request response exhibit?
That was it for me.
Okay, all right. So I guess is the DRR exhibit complete then, or are we looking to get an update? Is there anything pending still?
I think it should be complete at this juncture.
Okay, all right. All right, I just want to turn quickly one more time to the offered evidence list. Just wanted to mention that we do have CEII filed in this case, and most importantly that it's been offered as evidence through the witness testimony and exhibits. So, or at least in this case, it's the exhibit. So I did so that the commissioners and staff, when reviewing the record, can see the full version. I did create a secured copy of the full version of the Morton 1 exhibit that's now residing in our internal servers, that specific people with access to CEII in this case can open. And because I did think that substantively The Appendix D to the application did include, I guess I didn't do a direct comparison, but I think it seemed to be more substantial in terms of the redactions, the information that's being provided. So I did prepare a new application exhibit that I had attached to the offered evidence list. In this version, so you can't see it, but it's got a link to DL to the Appendix D. So again, that'll be the full version that commissioners can easily access. Something that we usually don't do because I think the amount of information in Appendix D is usually rather small, but in this case, I think it's more substantial. So they may be interested in seeing the full version. That'll get them there quicker. Otherwise, I think that's all I wanted to say. And you know, just so you know, of course, that's why CII is when we need it, but to avoid having it being offered for the record does make the process much more simpler so that we don't have to go through the process of creating extra documents and secure areas to store them, etc. So just keep that in mind in the future. All right, so I think we can get started. We do have, so we did have some, well, no surrebuttal. We have, oh yeah, Cheese surrebuttal, Rademacher surrebuttal. So the other direct testimony has been filed without objection, but we did have some erratas filed, and I think we had some questions regarding the Stubinsky errata. So I think we could probably save that for when Stubinsky takes the stand, but otherwise, are there any questions about the recent filings? Any objections to surrebuttal, for example? Okay, so except for the Stubinsky, the errata, I can accept the documents offered for the record pending verification of the witnesses. I think we had an issue with witness Morton. So is that still the case, Attorney Zappo, that
It is. Unfortunately, he's fallen ill. He won't be able to attend today, but per the correspondence yesterday, my understanding is that commission staff and WEG have no objection to him verifying by affidavit. It also sounded like Cub doesn't have any cross, but they didn't specifically speak to the verification by affidavit. So maybe I'll let Mr. Singletary chime in on that.
okay, so any comment?
Cub has no objection.
Okay, so I wanted to say, you know, this case is rather small in terms of the record, and apparently by the filings, not very controversial. So this is kind of an unusual situation, especially with the ATC. But having said that, so we usually do not accept sort of party agreement to have someone not take the stand or not be available in case there are questions. But in this case, I'm going to make an exception because it's due to illness and because it's you know, rather quick in terms of timing, but also because the case doesn't seem to require you know, further investigation. But I think there's some other options that may have been, I think well, any party and commission staff should be aware of, and that may be more likely to be needed in a more controversial case. So first of all, the witness need only be available for questions. So it could be that the witness doesn't attend the whole hearing, but then is just able to answer questions if the time is necessary. So that just frees up that person's time not to have to you know, be in front of the screen or at a hearing room when if they're ill or if they're have to be away for some unforeseen purpose. Maybe a better option because that has its own complications. Maybe a better option is that we do allow the offer anyway of a party or commission staff to substitute the witness with someone with equal experience and connection with the case. You know, many times these witnesses really preparing testimony within a team of people. So someone who's working on the testimony and feels competent to verify those documents and answer questions could do that as well. So it's usually, I think, the best practice to have someone substitute for for the original filer. So that's probably the two options. I think I may have had another one there when I was speaking to you, Evan, but I can't remember what it was. But just the idea is so I think that's probably, you know, your best bet. So we don't create any controversy, especially if the case is more contested. This case, I don't think there's really a need to do more than just take the witness by affidavit. So just wanted to let you know.
Understood, Your Honor. I appreciate that guidance and appreciate the accommodation on the verification.
Of course. All right. So at this point, I think we can take our witnesses. I want to start with our applicant.
Your Honor, just
yeah.
to jump in, there were a couple witnesses that due to travel were hoping to testify. And
Oh, yes, you're right. We're taking out of
just
time.
wondering if we could start with them maybe. And
I think that's fair. Yeah, they're en route to a scoping meeting. So yeah, is it the DNR?
witness Biefeld and Rodermacher specifically.
Okay, yeah. So let's do that now. So let's take Biefeld first, and you can call him.
All right. First, I would call Kirsten Biefeld to the stand.
All right, there you are. So let me swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning. Could you please state your name and explain by whom are you employed?
My name is Kirsten Biefeld, and I work for the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection.
And in this docket, did you file or cause to be filed direct testimony, errata testimony to your direct, as well as one exhibit?
Yes.
And is that testimony and exhibit true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Do you have any additions or modifications or revisions that you need to make to your testimony or exhibit at this time?
I do not.
All right. With that, the witness is available for cross.
All right. Thanks very much. And thanks for working with us on getting that exhibit filed. Appreciate it. Any questions?
None from the applicant, Your Honor.
Look like no. All right. Not hear anybody. Okay. Thanks. You're excused.
Thank you.
Next, commission staff would call Jury Rodermacher to the stand.
All right. Okay. I can see you there, but I think you're out of focus with your camera, maybe blurring the
It
background.
was working before, Judge Newmark. What's going on?
Yeah, that's weird. It was perfect last time. Trust me.
I'll turn it on and off and see if that happens, if that helps.
Well, you didn't blur the background, did you? Okay. Oh, there you go. That's better. I mean, just getting the camera out of the sun. It works now. It's perfect. So you're good.
Perfect.
All right. Swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right. Go ahead.
Good morning. Could you please state your name and explain by whom are you employed?
My name is Jury Rodermacher, and I'm employed by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources.
In this docket, did you file or cause to be filed direct and serve rebuttal testimony?
Yes, I did.
And are the representations made in that testimony true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, they are.
Do you have any additions or modifications that you wish to make to your testimony at this time?
I do not.
With that, the witness is available for cross.
Any questions? Not hearing any. Okay. Thanks. You're excused.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the accommodation, Your Honor.
Not a problem. Are we ready for applicant witnesses then?
Yes, Your Honor. Our first witness is Christopher Facklin.
There he is. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Oh, something's muted there.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little bit low. Maybe just moving your mic closer.
How's that?
That's okay. Yeah, okay, great. So that was a yes to swearing you in?
Yes.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Good morning. Can you please just state your name for the record?
Christopher Facklum.
And did you file or cause to be filed direct, supplemental direct, and rebuttal testimony in this proceeding?
Yes.
If I asked you the same questions in your pre-filed testimony today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
And is your pre-filed testimony true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
That's all I have, Your Honor. The witness is available for cross.
All right, any questions? Nothing? All right, you're excused. Thanks.
Thank you.
ATC next calls Jay Johannes.
All right, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I will.
Okay, go ahead.
Good morning. Can you please state your name for the record?
Jay Johannes.
And did you file or cause to be filed direct testimony and an errata to your direct testimony in this proceeding?
Yes, I have.
And if I asked you the same questions in your pre-filed testimony today, would your answers be the same?
Yes, they would.
Is your pre-filed testimony true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, it is.
That's all I have. The witness is available for cross.
Okay. So, I did have a quick question about that errata, and I guess it just came to mind. Just the replacing the amount of money here that's listed on page 6, line 21. I guess the sort of the procedural quirk in that is if after direct, the rebuttal and the surrebuttal was referencing the 388.8 million, then changing the direct by updating direct, it kind of skews the rest of the record because the new number looks like it was filed earlier, and then the old number is being discussed in the subsequent filing. So I don't know if do we know whether that number's come up in testimony subsequent to direct? And this might not be a question for the witness, just anyone can answer if they're.
Sure, Your Honor, I could maybe. The numbers were originally referenced in Mr. Facklum and Mr. Johannes's direct. We realized that the numbers in Mr. Facklum's direct were incorrect because they failed to account for StatCom.
Right.
And so he filed supplemental direct. And then it wasn't until we were sort of going back through the testimony in preparation for the hearing and noticed, we have to file an errata for Mr. Johannes so that his substation estimate was correct. I don't know the timing of all that, but I'm fairly comfortable that it's consistent throughout our testimony now.
So in terms of the rebuttal, well, let's see, we can go off the record for this. So that looks like the Facklum's supplemental came in on January 8th. So so the rebuttal actually was filed later. So is it safe to assume the new number is being referred to in rebuttal and surrebuttal, or is there a disconnect there?
I don't believe, at least as to ATC's testimony, rebuttal testimony, there's any reference to cost estimates or the specific cost estimate figure.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it here. Okay. Okay, so I think here it may be okay to. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is let's refile the errata as that on page 6, line 21. If we can refile that as supplemental direct, so just so we don't erase the original because it just kind of raises, it just makes you wonder why Falkland filed supplemental direct, changing the number, and the original number is in the record with Johannes, but just in terms of timing, we want to just set that as supplemental direct. I think it makes it more clear that originally the wrong number was used. So we can accept the change on page 7, line 4. For the
Are you still off?
Oh yeah, no, let's get on the record. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay.
So in terms of the Johannes errata, let's accept the change proposed on on page 7, line 4, and then for the change proposed on page 6, line 21, let's have that change filed as supplemental direct.
That's fine with us, Your Honor. If I may,
Yeah.
on the second, it may just make sense to leave the direct as is, because this revised attachment was referenced in Mr. Facklam's, so it may just be cleaner to do the supplemental direct.
Got it. Okay, understood. Thanks. Yeah, so just file a supplemental direct with the changes in the errata. Thanks.
Sure.
All right. And I would assume that won't be very controversial filing, but if something is wrong with if something comes in unexpected, parties can feel free to file an objection, but I'm not expecting that to happen. So just so you know, there would be a chance to review and accept and propose any sort of procedural problem with it. So where are we now? Johansson, did we ask for cross? I can't remember. Let's just ask one more question. Yeah. Any questions for the witness? No.
None from
All right.
staff.
Great. Thank you. All right. You're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. ATC next calls Tanner Stabinski.
Okay. See you there. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Good morning. Can you please state your name for the record?
Tanner Stabinski.
And Mr. Stabinski, did you file or cause to be filed direct testimony and an errata to your direct testimony in this proceeding?
Yes.
And if I asked you the same questions in your pre-filed testimony today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Is your testimony and errata true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
The witness is available for cross.
Okay. So before we do cross, let's talk about the errata. I think that's sort of a similar situation. I don't know if, well, let's just bring that up. So the errata for Stabinski does change a sentence on page 8, line 18 through 20, essentially changing the structure type. And I guess just first off, I guess it just strikes me as not being proper errata, just because it's a substantive change to testimony. So I think maybe the best thing would be to have the witness offer that as a supplemental direct on the stand, and then we can discuss whether that's appropriate or not, and if there's any questions about that statement. So I guess first I should just ask, are there any objections to ATC changing its testimony at this point on this topic at this time?
Your Honor, this is Evan Whites. I don't have an objection, but I would just note for clarity, I think your proposed strategy makes sense. We did have some questions about that change. So for the purpose of the record, I think it would make sense to have kind of both versions of the testimony so that it's clear why commission staff is asking questions about the finish for the structures.
Okay. Yes, I agree. All right, so let's do that. So let's have the witness enter this testimony on the stand, and then we'll move on with any questions about it. Do you want to take the lead, Attorney Zoppo?
Sure, yeah, Your Honor, can we bring up the witnesses' direct testimony, page 8, lines 18 through 20?
Sure thing. There you go.
Okay, so Mr. Stubinsky, you initially testified in your pre-filed testimony that ATC is proposing to use a weathering steel finish on its structures, correct?
Correct.
Is that accurate?
Not at this point, no.
What type of finish does ATC intend to use on its structures?
ATC plans to use a galvanized finish on the structures.
Was your statement as to the use of weathering steel finish in your initial testimony made an error?
Yes,
And you're now seeking to correct that error?
correct, yes.
I think that's all I have for the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Yeah, just to follow up, so the application uses galvanized steel structures. Is that how we're to understand that testimony?
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, so do we have questions for the witness?
I do have a couple of questions.
Okay, go
Good
ahead.
morning, Mr. Stubinsky. Evan White's on behalf of commission staff. Could you explain, because I would note in your original direct, you noted that weathering steel finished structures are 3 to 5% less expensive than galvanized steel structures, as well as talking about some of the differences in fabrication and kind of how you construct the two types. Could you explain the rationale for why the applicant decided to use galvanized steel for the structures in this particular project?
Sure. So in terms of engineering, weathering versus galvanizing finish, they're fairly similar, but it mostly came down to a internal maintenance call. The ATC maintenance was the one to choose the finish of the structure.
And I'm just looking at your direct testimony on page 9, lines 1 through 3, which I think ALJ Newmark has up on this screen. You stated that weathering steel structures typically require no maintenance during their life cycle, while galvanized structures may need to be painted. So when you say it was a maintenance decision, it sounds like weathering steel requires less maintenance. So could you elaborate upon that, or what do you mean by that?
Weathering steel typically requires no maintenance, but since we will be going by the interstate, there would be the potential for additional maintenance due to the finish and salt spray in the winter.
Was there any consideration of using the weathering steel structures in areas that are not adjacent to the interstate?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. I guess last question, again, based off of your direct testimony that mentions that weathering steel structures are roughly 3 to 5% cheaper. How does this impact the total project cost, this choice to use the galvanized instead of weathering steel structures?
I'm not sure the exact numbers of cost increase at this moment.
Would it be a cost increase over what is presented in the application, or is that still the projected project cost?
That's still the projected project cost. The estimates were run using galvanized structures.
So the difference would be a potential cost savings rather than an increase over what's been presented in the application.
Objection. I think the question's a little vague.
Yeah, let me ask it. That was unclear. We've established that weathering steel is cheaper. You would agree with that, witness Stubinsky, right?
Yes.
So when comparing the two structure types, you said that galvanized steel was already considered as far as creating the project cost that is presented in the application, right?
Correct.
So if the choice would be made whether to use weathering steel for portions or all of the structures, that would represent a cost savings over what was presented in the application. Is that fair to understand it that way?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Thank you. With that, I don't have any other questions.
I did have one follow-up from the question that I had asked before. So I'd looked at the looks like the most recent application document we've checked out to make sure that's the updated version, and searching the word steel, it does bring up section 1.6.6 transmission configuration. There's a sentence: all structures will be self-supporting weathering steel supported on concrete drilled piered foundations. So it looks like the application is indicating weathered steel. And so I'm just curious if someone can answer, do we need to modify the application, or, and in terms of the cost projections, how do we know that embedded in the costs we're using galvanized steel and not weathering steel?
Your Honor, is that directed to the witness or?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess in terms of whether we need to refile the application, I'll direct that to you, Attorney Zoppo.
So I think our intent with this testimony was sort of to correct the application and the witness's prior testimony, just to make sure it was accurate.
Well, because the witness said that the application was based on galvanized steel.
Correct. But I think
now you are adjusting the application.
Yeah, again, I would say through our intent was through the testimony to adjust the application, just to make sure the record is clear.
Okay. And then in terms of the internal mechanics of the application, the cost estimates, is this the witness we should direct that question to, whether the cost estimates were built from using galvanized steel as the basis?
I think the witness can answer.
Okay, I think he did. So, but I'm wondering if that's the witness we really need to be asking. Is that the proper witness for the cost estimate?
I would say for cost estimates, the cost estimates generally, Mr. Facklum is probably the appropriate witness, but I think this witness can accurately spoke to that issue. I don't know that we need to recall Mr. Facklum to address it.
I guess I'm wondering who actually made the estimate calculations. Is it witness Facklum?
I would say he sponsored the cost estimate calculations in his testimony. I think they were developed with a team, but they are presented in his testimony. Yes.
So why don't we just we'll bring witness Facklum back just to get a direct answer to that question. But in terms of the application, I think we'll need to refile. You can refile a corrected version, changing weathering steel to galvanized steel, so that it's clear we know what the applicant is requesting. You know, when the commission approves the application, it's going to be approving what's on file here. So let's refile that, and then we'll need to refile the application exhibit, and I'll create a new one with the DL link to Appendix D. So that this way we'll all be on the same page. Okay. Yeah. So do you have any more questions for witness Stabinsky or any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So while it's fresh, let's recall witness was it Facklum, and just get a answer about that cost estimate. Okay, witness Facklum, you recall you're still under oath?
Yes.
Okay, so did you want to ask that, Attorney Zoppo? Do you want me to?
Sure, yeah. I can handle it. Mr.
Oh.
Facklum, were you here? Scratch that. Did you just hear Mr. Stubinsky's testimony regarding the type of structures ATC intends to use for the project?
Yes.
And did ATC assume the use of galvanized steel structures as part of the cost estimate it developed for the project?
Yes.
Okay, so is that to say the cost estimate reflected in your supplemental direct testimony accounts for the use of galvanized steel transmission structures?
Yes.
I think that's all I have, Your Honor, unless
Okay.
you have anything else.
Just to follow up, so can you just describe your involvement in creating the cost estimates?
Yes. So as Attorney Zappo said, I'm a sponsor of the team compiling the estimate. So we have inputs from various team members, and I'm in charge of leading that for review and ensuring the accuracy, which in this case did include the galvanized structures.
Perfect. Great. Thanks for your help there. Okay, excellent. So any other questions for Facklum on this topic? No? All right, great. So you're excused. Stubinsky, you're excused. And we can take the next witness.
And Your Honor, just if I can confirm on Stubinsky's errata.
Yes.
Are we accepting that, or
What are we doing with that? That's a good question. I think I think we have on the stand, he read. Well, you asked some questions about it. He confirmed. I think that we're good just to have that on the transcript.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
So yeah, I think that'll work. And again, it's an issue of timing and how the filings sort of all get sorted in terms of time. I think it makes sense just to, we found the correction at the hearing and dealt with it there. So that makes sense. Okay, so are we good to go with our next witness?
Yes, ATC calls Michael Warwick.
All right, see you there. Raise your right hand. And do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right.
Good morning. Can you please state your name for the record?
Michael Warwick.
Mr. Warwick, did you file or cause to be filed direct and rebuttal testimony in this proceeding?
Yes, I did.
And if I asked you the same questions in your pre-filed testimony today, would your answers be the same?
They would.
And is your pre-filed testimony true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
It is.
That's all I have. The witness is available for cross.
Okay, any questions? No? All right, you're excused. Thanks.
Thank you.
And ATC's last witness, we call Megan Lind.
Okay. See you there. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
Good morning. Can you please state your name for the record?
Sure. It's Megan Lind.
And Ms. Lind, did you file or cause to be filed direct testimony and an errata to your direct testimony?
Yes, I did.
And if I asked you the same questions in your pre-filed testimony today, would your answers be the same?
Yes, they would.
And is your pre-filed testimony and errata true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, it is.
All right, the witness is available for cross.
Any questions? No? All right, thanks very much. You're excused. I think for Morton, we'll expect to see affidavit verifying the Morton testimony exhibits. And I think with that, we're done with ATC's witnesses. We take commission staff.
Sounds great. Next, commission staff would call Bert Chi to the stand.
See you there. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right.
Good morning. Could you please state your name and explain by whom are you employed?
My name is Bert Chi, and I'm employed by the Wisconsin Public Service Commission.
And in this docket, did you file or cause to be filed direct and serve rebuttal testimony?
Yes, I did.
And did you also file or cause to be filed one exhibit?
Yes, I did.
Will you also be sponsoring the completeness exhibit, the data request response exhibit, and the delayed public comment exhibit in this docket?
Yes, I will be.
Do you have any additions or modifications to make to either your testimony or exhibit?
No, I do not.
And are the representations made in those dockets true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, they are.
Thank you. With that, the witness is available for cross.
Any questions?
No.
All right, thanks. You're excused.
Next, commission staff would call Jessica McDonald to the stand.
All right, see you there. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You'll need.
Yes, I do.
Yes, you'll need it.
Yeah.
I can hear you. Yeah, just answer.
Okay.
Just answer me. Go ahead.
Yes, I do.
Okay, perfect. There you go.
Mhm.
Great. All right, go ahead.
Good morning. Could you please state your name for the record and explain by whom are you employed?
I am Jessica McDonald, and I'm employed by the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin.
In this docket, did you file or cause to be filed direct testimony?
Yes, I did.
And did you also file or cause to be filed one exhibit?
Yes.
And pursuant to the notes from ALJ Newmark, that was originally labeled Exhibit PSC McDonald, but will be renamed to be Exhibit PSC EA. Is that correct?
Correct.
Other than those noted modifications from the offered evidence list, do you have any additional modifications or changes to make to either your pre-filed testimony or exhibit?
No, I do not.
And are the statements and representations made in that testimony and that exhibit true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, they are.
Thank you. With that, the witness is available for cross.
Any questions? No? Okay, I just wanted to note that for the EA exhibit, we want to just make a link to the EA. So I think there's plenty of examples of those. There's people who can help you with that. But the one that the McDonald exhibit was an actual attachment of the EA document itself. So we just want the link to it. So just wanted to note that. And okay, so no questions. So you're excused. Thanks very much.
Lastly, commission staff would call Stacy Rowe to the stand.
Okay, there you are. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
Good morning. Could you please state your name for the record and explain by whom are you employed?
My name is Stacy Rowe, and I'm employed by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources.
And in this docket, did you file or cause to be filed direct testimony?
Yes, I did.
Are the statements and representations made in that direct testimony true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, they are.
Do you have any additional modifications or corrections to make that testimony at this time?
No, I do not.
With that, the witness is available for cross. Thank you.
Any questions? No? All right, you're excused. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so it looks like we have all our witnesses. So I just wanted to recap just some of the refiling. We'll need a refiling of the application document and the application exhibit. Kind of gone back and forth whether to label that exhibit with revision indicators. I think in this case, let's just use the R. I think at this point it would be R2 for that exhibit. So just because there've been a few of them in the record, so or put on earth anyway. Otherwise, I think we will just be expecting staff's exhibits. And am I forgetting anything?
Believe, Your Honor, the only other thing is we're going to refile Mr. Johannes's errata as supplemental direct.
Yes. Yeah, let me make a note of that. And the other erratas, well, Lind and Lind, that you'd want to refile the direct to correct Lind with the errata statements. Otherwise, I think we're good with refiling. And I think that's it. Anything else we need to address before we adjourn? No? All right. So we have a post hearing schedule. So there is an opportunity to brief. I guess it's not required, but that's definitely, we have a schedule for it if parties do wish to brief, although it seems like this case isn't as controversial as others. So with that, I think that's it. So we're adjourned. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.